Hello. Thank you very much for attending. I'm Andy Bowering. I'm the interim CEO of Apollo, its largest shareholder, and let me tell you about Apollo. Apollo was started back in 2021. We raised $53 million at 75 cents. We bought an asset from Pan American. We put another 15 million into the ground. There's about 170 million ounces of silver there. Now an analyst will tell you there's 170 million ounces of silver there because I'm going to combine all the different categories. We also have an option on a project in Mexico. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, and I'll just give you an idea of the structure and sort of where the value traps are in this company. I'll try and not make too many forward-looking statements, but please read the cautionary note at your convenience. So this company has its arms around about 400 million ounces of silver. We've done 2 deals with what you would arguably call majors in the industry. Our first deal was done with Pan American in 2021, and our second option arrangement was done mid-2024 with MAG Silver. We're in 2 mining-friendly jurisdictions. Arguably, San Bernardino is probably the best mining jurisdiction in California. To our west, we have Rio Tinto's Borax mine, and to the east, Castle Mountain. And then the second project is in northern Mexico in the state of Chihuahua. We've got a good team. We brought, 5 years ago, we bought Prime Mining here. We brought it at a 15 million market cap. It hit a high 2.5 years later with the investment of Pierre Lassonde as the largest shareholder of about 550 million. To this day, it still trades about a 250 million market cap and is developing or advancing 3 million gold equivalent ounces in western Mexico. The piece about Prime is going to become important later, and I'll try and get to that for you. There's 250 million shares-ish out in this company. It trades about 24 cents, so call it a 62 million market cap. There's 12.5 million in cash in the treasury, so a 50 million enterprise value. For that 50 million, you get 110 million measured and indicated ounces in California, ready to go through economic study, another 50 million inferred, a critical mineral in barite, which I will tell you about, and a small gold resource. Then you get this option on what was arguably MAG Silver's best asset back in the early 2000s. Major shareholders include me and my family at about 10%. Ned Naylor's the world's largest silver fund, Jupiter Asset Management, at about 9%. Eric is just under 5%. Commodity Capital is just under 5%. Primevest at 4%. And recently, 9 Point joined the register. As I said, I'm the interim CEO. I'll be looking for a CEO, but I'm not looking for a CEO until we get something accomplished in Mexico. And the reason for that is that I'll get a better CEO, and I don't take a salary because of my shareholding, so I'm better to keep the money tight in the company. But the rest of the people on the top list there run the company very well. On the directors, California's top environmental lawyer, former CFO of Torex with a lot of experience in Mexico, Alex Sakumas, years in Mexico from exploration all the way through development, economic study, and production. And then recently we had Jackie Przyzwolowski join the board. Jackie's a former analyst at BMO and now is with Garofalo at Gold Royalty. I mentioned the 2 projects already, one in Southern California, one in Mexico. We're going to spend some time on Mexico because that's the important piece in this. But just quickly, what I'll go through about California. This is truly private land. This is fee simple land. It's already been designated mining. There is no state permitting. There is no federal permitting. This is county permitting only. You have 110 million ounces measured and indicated at a 1.13 strip ratio. It sits at surface. Why that's important is because the state of California requires backfill legislation. You hear that California is a difficult place to operate. It is because they have some rules. If you dig a hole to mine something, you fill up the hole when you're done. Here we don't have to do that. This is a bump on the side of the hill. It gets shaved down and then you're terracing the slope. You can see the mill set up in our photo, that's a requirement to not have your mill on your private lands. You also have laydown land. This was set up to be mined back in the mid 80s under ASARCO, and then we all know what happened to the silver and gold trade throughout that decade. Pan American bought it, but Pan American got focused in South America. Infrastructure in the region. I don't want to spend much time talking about the resource. What I want to talk about a little bit is barite. ASARCO in the 70s established that there was a 13% barite credit to the deposit. Barite, well, it's only worth $250 a ton and would only add arguably 15 to 20 million silver equivalent ounces. It's a critical mineral in the US, and 95% of it's imported from China. We're going to make that compliant this year. It's about an 8,000 assay program using old drill core, old pulps and rejects, and then we'll have a compliant barite resource, which we're probably going to be able to use as a trading card with the US government for some water rights. There's an old marine base that's been shut in for years that's in Yermo, about 7 miles to the south. There's water there, and there's a couple old ranches that have gone fallow that have water rights. We believe, and our water analyst believes, that getting the critical mineral status here will enable us to negotiate some water. And once we negotiate some water, then it'll be worth taking this through an economic study. Now it's ready to go through economic study now. We could do an advanced PEA. To do a PFS will require 4,000 meters of geotech drilling and some more met work around HPGR. So going forward at Calico, you're going to see the barite resource established in the first half of this year. It also pulled a 70,000 ounce gold resource at the south end of the silver deposit. We're a silver company. The gold doesn't really matter. We don't want to change the narrative, but suffice to say that there is a formation underneath the main silver hosting formation that contains gold. We found up to 200 grams gold at surface, and it pulled a 70,000 ounce pit. So we're going to spend a little bit of time prospecting and mapping around the southern end, and if that leads to some interesting rock gold prospective, then we might drill a few holes there in the first half or mid this year. Second half, you'll look forward to seeing a PEA on the project. After going public, 75 cents a share, raising we were at 160 million, 170 million market cap, might have been higher than that. Two other companies, one at 500 million market cap and the other, our lithium company, at close to $1 billion. The silver market started to unwind, and over the last 2.5 years unwound. This company went down to about a 25 million market cap, and it wasn't worth taking shareholders' money in at that point to do economic study, which I would argue is the valley of death in the Lassonde curve, and that's not what shareholders are looking for. So we went looking for another asset. I was introduced to George Paspalis at MEG, and I was able to cut a deal on Cinco de Mayo, which is arguably, or Peter McGaw would tell you that it's probably North America's largest CRD deposit. 445 drill holes put in it, only 12 never had mineralization. It's 155 million silver equivalent ounces at 385 grams. It's a silver lead zinc deposit. There's a bit of gold. There's also a 500,000 ounce gold deposit at the surface, but that's not really what we're here to talk about. It's a classic CRD. MAG got thrown off the property in 2012, and we don't need to go through here today what MAG did or should have done or could have done to save themselves, but they were thrown off the property in 2012, having announced a major new discovery hole of 61 meters of massive sulfide right between the two main zones that are separated by 1.5 kilometers. It was a big deal, but murder and intrigue make better headlines, as Amandeep likes to say. And so MAG got thrown off the property, and the local ejido banned mining there for 100 years.
Now, I had the same situation in 2019, late 2018, early 2019, when Doug Ramshaw and Darren Conningen had an advisor that told them in Mayor Alamos that they would never get social license at Los Reyes. So I bought Los Reyes for $9 million. I put it in prime with the help of a few other investors, and now it's a 50 or 60 million market cap company, a lot of cash. Lassonde is the biggest shareholder, a great group covered by 5 or 6 banks, aside from brokerage firms. They said we couldn't get it done there. It took 9 months. It wasn't simple, but we got it done. So that same team works here at Apollo, and we're going to get it done. We signed the deal with MAG. Well, this is the best part. The option from MAG is this simple. We have 5 years to get social license restored. We don't pay them anything. We work to get social license restored. Once it's restored, we have to drill 20,000 meters. Now at Prime, we drill 40 to 60,000 meters every year in northern Mexico, and it costs us $250 a meter all in. So I know what it costs, I know how long it takes to do it, and I know how to do it. I've got to get social license. When I get it, I drill 20,000 meters, I publicly disclose them all, and then we issue MAG 19.9% of our capital stock. That's the deal. Until then, we just pay the surface taxes, $600,000 a year. We went into the region back in May of 2024. We didn't sign the option until September the 23rd. We've already made pretty good headroads in the community. It's a longer story than I can take you through this here, but Amandeep, as my witness, will tell you that the Department of Mines for Chihuahua was in our office 4 weeks ago, and 3 of them said, you guys are going to get this done this year. 5 people from the community went to... One of the other things I didn't tell you guys is that Agnico tried to get this done in 2018. MAG also tried to fix it. They offered a whole bunch of money, and then they really looked guilty. MAG was accused of assassinating 2 people to keep this project. And clearly, that's not what us mineral explorers do, but it was a convenient excuse for a group of farmers that they could point at the bad mining company and say they were the ones that killed our brother and sister-in-law. Agnico tried to get in there in 2018 and fix it. It's not for guys in suits. It's for all my friends from Chihuahua that have lived in the region forever and know how to deal with the communities. And we're making some progress. 5 people from that community went to Chihuahua City 2 weeks ago to try and find the person at CIMA, that's an engineering firm, that dealt with Agnico, because they want to see if they could get Agnico to come back to site, because they're convinced that the community will approve it now. Now, I'll tell you that on December the 3rd, the Ejido had an election. They have them every 3 years. For the last 13 years, the Ejido government has been anti-mining. And they're an older generation, and I mean, I'm 65 myself, but the president of Ejido is older than I was. On December the 3rd, a group that we supported since last summer won the Ejido election. The president's 38 years old. His colleagues are in their 40s. They are pro-mining, pro-development, and they will tell you that nobody should stand in the way of the entire community voting on whether the mining ban should be overturned and some company should get to develop. But those local people that went to look for Agnico support, that's because they're in desperate financial calamity there. The differences in northern Mexico are very stark between countries that have, or counties and regions that have a mine and those that don't. This area has lost its pecan orchards. They've all gone fallow. The chili farmers don't even pick fresh chilies anymore. They dry them on the vines and try and make a Chipotle product to get more revenue. And the 2 assembly plants that did operate there, one of them was a Whirlpool plant, closed down last year, and so there's no labor. And the U.S. is now exporting unemployed people back to Mexico. Instead of those people staying in the U.S. and sending back money to Mexico, now it's getting worse. The second mouse is going to get the cheese here. And so, as I stand here in front of you today, my country manager that's done this 2 times
in Mexico before. Just outside of Mexico City with a company called Sierra Madre, and at Los Reyes in Sinaloa with Prime, is meeting the president of that ejido right now. And we are offering them a pretty significant financial package to restore. They didn't have water last year in the summer for 3 days because they couldn't afford to turn on the electrical pumps to pump the water. Like, these guys need help, and we're there to do it. As I said, Prime's been operating for 5 years. We provide the community with a lot of benefit, with jobs, with training, with financial support, and that's available here. Cinco de Mayo is a world-class asset. Nobody in this industry will argue that. The bet is, can we fix it? And I'm not going to take you through all the geology because I don't think it's important. You guys can go find out yourself about Cinco de Mayo. There's any analyst on the street knows it, and they'll tell you what they think of it. There's also a 500,000 ounce gold moly deposit that's Mexico's richest moly deposit. I don't know if the Trump administration or if China's restricting moly now, if the prices of moly go up, if there's tariffs put on it, there's an opportunity with this deposit. There's also an opportunity with the silver. But suffice to say that this is one of those situations where you can see an asymmetric risk profile. You get this company for a $50 million enterprise value. We're good stewards of capital. We've had 2 $6 stocks, 2 $5 stocks. We've taken stocks to NASDAQ, the Amex. We're good operators. We look after your capital like it's ours. I have $6.5 million of my own money in this company, and I care about it. We're around here after. We're happy to answer questions. I'll have some if you've got some questions now. We're going to fix Cinco. That is going to unlock the value in the company, and then we're going to go raise more money to do the economic study at Calico. So, in summary, about 400 million ounces of silver in this company, a solid shareholder base, still what I would argue is a small valuation. We're just getting started on the institutional hunt and the research hunt. There'll be research coming, and I think you get to, if you're invested in this company, you're in 2 safe jurisdictions with arguably some pretty advanced assets that have a lot of blue sky in front of them.